I own your soul. The story for The Darkness 2 follows the main protagonist of the first game and the long-running comic book series that this is of course based on, Jackie Estacado, who in the first game received a very dark presence or power known as the Darkness, which only wants violence and destruction, but this thing only can get violence and destruction if it takes over a suitable host. And of course that was Jackie in the first game. This is actually set 2 years after the first game, and now he's the head of a mob family that he actually had to fight off in the first game, and he also learned how to contain the darkness so it doesn't take him over. The game begins with Jackie reminiscing about the past and about his girlfriend named Jenny, who was sadly murdered in the first game by his very evil uncle. After that, he goes to a restaurant and is attacked and maimed by an unknown enemy. I mean, it comes out of nowhere. He's just hanging out with these two hot twins, and then boom, crash, and then he's maimed, his leg's pretty much screwed. And of course, this means he has to unleash the darkness one last time just to see who actually put this hit on him and why. The story is absolutely engrossing, and it has some very memorable characters, fantastic dialogue, and so many twists and turns. This story is absolutely fantastic. Surprisingly, the story also gets very emotional because throughout the game, Jackie will encounter his deceased girlfriend and have intimate moments with her, which are fantastic. I love all of these moments. These scenes really made the story what it is for me. The story in this game is one of the best out there. So, there you go. Let's talk about the sound. The sound in the game, just like the story, is amazing. First off, you have the vocal talents of Mike Patton, who voices the Darkness in this game and the first game, of course. He is absolutely menacing in this game. I loved him in this. Every time he talked, I was like, I just want to murder more things now. Thank you for saying something. Jackie in this game is voiced by a different voice actor than in the first game, which is kind of surprising. He is now voiced by Brian Bloom, who does a fantastic job in the role, actually. He really adds a more soft-spoken tone to Jackie, which is really needed for this game because it gets really emotional sometimes. The rest of the voice acting is also top-notch, with some of the standouts being Jackie's mob friend Vinny and his girlfriend Jenny, of course. The sound design is also great in here and never misses a beat, and the soundtrack also gets the blood rushing when the action starts up. Overall, the sound might not be the best out there, but it still is great. Let's talk about the graphics now. Now the graphics for The Darkness 2. The first game had a very realistic look to the graphics. For the time being, it was a great looking game. So the developers of this game decided to just dump that whole realism crap right out of the window and give it a more comic book cel-shaded look, which makes so much sense for this game because it was a comic book before it was a game. I love cel-shaded graphics, and it's really no different for this one. It really feels like you're playing a very gory comic book, which is obviously what they were going for, and it really works. The environments are really gritty and nasty looking, but because it's cel-shaded, it actually looks really great. The character models are well detailed and there are plenty of them. The effects look really damn good, especially whenever you rip someone in half with a weapon or with the darkness. Oh, it's so beautifully gory, I love it. And it never skips a frame, doesn't have any screen tear, and no blurry or any bad texturing whatsoever. Some will not like this comic style of the game, but I really dug them. So let's go on to the gameplay. Now the gameplay. The Darkness 2 at first seems like a very standard first-person shooter. You get your typical shotguns, pistols, machine guns, assault rifles, etc. The shooting, though, in this game feels really good. Every time you shoot an enemy, it really feels like you're shooting something that is actually living besides a brain-dead bot. You can also dual-wield a variety of different weapons, and it really is a lot of fun just to mix and match, pistols, machine guns, all that stuff. Now, the one huge thing that sets this apart from the other shooters out there is the darkness itself. Now, seeing that it's called the darkness, you can only use the darkness while you're in the dark. And when you're in the dark, these two vicious tentacles come out of your back, and you have one on the left and one on the right, and you use these tentacles to rip people in half vertically, horizontally, or any other direction you see fit, because you can pretty much maim them in any way you want, cut them in half, cut their arms off, cut their heads off, whatever. You can also pick enemies up and do some of the most brutally gory executions I've ever seen in a video game. Some of them are just downright disturbing, but they're awesome. You also can pick up a variety of different items throughout the environment to throw at the enemy. Some will impale them, others will slice them in half. It's pretty damn awesome, and the mixture between the fantastic gunplay and the awesome darkness abilities gives this game a lot of well-needed variety. You also have upgrades in the game which will increase the damage you do with the darkness or give you more ammo in your guns. You can also buy multiple different executions and new darkness abilities like Swarm, which covers the enemies and bugs and disables them to attack for a limited time. Gun channeling, which makes your bullets super powered and you could just pretty much shoot them once and they explode. And a black hole, which is self-explanatory. It's a black hole that sucks people in and explodes into meaty freaking chunks. It's so awesome. Now, the one huge problem with the single-player campaign is that it's about 6 to 7 hours long, which I would say is a decent length, but many people will look the other way when hearing how short it really is. One good thing, though, is that it actually has a co-op mode which you can play online with 3 other people called Vendettas. This includes a whole separate campaign which actually intertwines with the Darkness 2's single-player campaign, which is kind of cool, and a side mode in this mode called Hit List, which is it's a bunch of separate missions that you can tackle with a bunch of your friends or other people you don't know. It doesn't really have a story to it, but it's just, there so you can kill a bunch of people. The online is a lot of fun and also has a cast of pretty likable characters that have their own darkness abilities, so that actually adds a lot of variety because you can kind of get used to their darkness abilities. Let me say this, if you look the other way, then you are missing out on one of the best shooters to come out in a long time, with a memorable story, great sound, nice cel-shaded graphics, and it's insanely fun gameplay, single and multiplayer wise. This is a game no one should not play. So there you go, there's my review for The Darkness 2. Go play this game because it is definitely worth it. Thank you and goodbye.
I'm free! Oh! What the hell?